Productions. Bet Gurus page. You got the Bet Gurus. This is my blog. Go join it. Might see some editing things. I'm in my editor. Howdy, Heru, the Guru. Log out. No, log out. Last top 5 guys. Miami wide receiver prediction widget. Track. Regional target times. Everything else. But let's get to this penalty comparison, man. Every Miami Hurricane feels this, man. Go to the page, read the article, but the numbers don't lie, bro. Miami was flagged 60 times for 457 yards, 26 total penalties, 7 or 8 game average. I might have left a game off, but there's a gaping differential here. 5 penalty difference. Nearly, man, you might always say, no, it's 1/2, a little under a half, 2-1, a little over 2-1. This is 3-1 ratio. Twice as often, double the yardage. Game by game comparison. Now, the Notre Dame game really touches me because they ranked number 9. And we're ranked number 15. And we beat them head to head. Same amount of loss. Can't tell me this is not a biased situation. They only get 5 penalty yards for 15 yards in our game. The other game, they get 13 for 86 versus Texas A&M, 7 for 75 versus Purdue, 11 for 112 at NC State. But yet somehow against Miami, the undisciplined team, Notre Dame suddenly find its composure. Man, get out of here, man. Miami USF, man. This is real ridiculous, bro. Got penalized 9 for 69 yards, bro. And South Florida only got 2 penalties. Against everybody else, South Florida averaged 7 to 9 penalties a game. 7 versus Boise, 9 versus South Carolina State, 8 versus Charlotte. Come on, man. But in Miami, they only get 2. Get out of here, man. ESPN NBA News. I did get a lot of these stats from ESPN. And ESPN don't like Miami, bro. I'm just going to be real, ESPN. Y'all don't like us. I ain't going to slander y'all because I love y'all products. I use them. But y'all don't like us, man. It's apparent. Miami versus Florida. 6 for 30. Okay, they calm down. But Florida only gets 3. Come on, bro. Florida has drawn double-digit penalty against nearly everybody else. 12 for 100 versus LIU. They got 0 penalties. That's a typo. But the next game, hold on, I got my chart. I got the chart right here. That's a typo. Where you at? Where we at? Miami versus Florida. Where you at, Florida? All right. LIU. Okay. What it was, the opponent had 12 for 100 penalties. Florida had 0 that game. But against South Florida, the team that only got 2 penalties against us, they get 9 for 75. South Florida does, and Florida gets 11 for 103. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me both of those teams got their least amount of penalties against Miami suddenly, and then all of a sudden they play each other and they just don't know how to play disciplined football? No, bro. Come on, man. FSU, we get penalized 13 for 114. FSU 5 for 45. Come on, man. FSU averaged 8 to 10 penalties in almost every other game. 8 against Bama, 7 against A&M, 8 against Stanford. But in Miami, they're Saints. Oh, let's not talk about Louisville. 6 for 64, not bad. Everywhere, even here, the yardage difference is small. Looks kind of innocent. But the pattern is the same. More whistles against Miami. Louisville regularly get 8 to 12 penalties, man, against other ACC opponents, but their game against Miami, half the amount. And Stanford would trip me out, 2 for 10. I was like, oh, they smart. Those were smart guys. They're smart. Man, Stanford committed 8 to 11 penalties in the game against Hawaii, BYU, and SMU, but they only get 2 flags against Miami. I was thinking Stanford is a smart school, but no. They got 11 against UNC, 11 against San Jose State, 10 against that. Come on, man. But somehow only managed to get 2 against Miami? Bro, this stop. Same thing with SMU. This is a pattern trend. They average 7 to 9 penalties per game elsewhere. But when they line up against the Miami Hurricane, they get flagged half the time. This is a consistent thing, man. Go ahead and read the article, but I want to jump to these opponents, man. I did a chart here. Did the chart with the penalties here. And right here, their opponents. Notre Dame. Texas A&M get 13 for 86. Notre Dame 5. Now, I could say Notre Dame kind of was consistent, getting 5 penalties here, 3 against Purdue, 5 against Arkansas, and they spiked against Boise, 11 penalties, 112 yards, 6, 8, 6. They still get the least amount against Miami. South Florida again, 7 for 56 at Boise State, 9 for 75 at Florida, 8 for 80 at South Carolina State, 7 for 60, 6 for 70, 7 for 80, 7 for 60. But yet they only get 2 penalties in Miami. Stop. Florida, good. They got a perfect game. 0 penalties. LIU, pretty good. But they implode at South Florida with 11 for 103. LSU 7 for 57. And then all of a sudden, they find their disciplined way again. 3 penalties against Miami. And then in Texas, they go back to their normal ways. 7 for 50, 6 for 54, 7 for 60. So it's a trend. Everybody is getting half the penalties when they play Miami. Like everybody. Not just 1 or 2 teams. Every single team, bro. FSU. Okay, they were pretty decent. 4 for 40, 3 for 35, 5 for 59, 5 for 65, 4 for 8. You know what? FSU a pretty decent team. It's penalty-wise. They the best, most even Steven across the board. Louisville, we see with Louisville, they had 12 penalties, 406 yards against Eastern Kentucky University, man. No. And then 5 for 49, they got a little bit right against James Madison. 6 for 55, and then they implode again. 9 for 92. You know, 6 for 64, not that bad, but it's still less than their average. And we went over Stanford. You know what, boy, after I compiled this list, I got tired of the list. I said, you know what? It's apparent to me nobody gives a damn about Miami. Probably ain't gonna be too many people view this. So, you know, I was inspired by Manny Navarro's post and a video dude did that I'm finna make a quick little clip of. Matter of fact, I need to edit it in and put it in here. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that right now. I gotta give that man credit. I gotta give that man penalty comparison, edit it. I gotta give it to him, man. And also a YouTube short. I'm gonna put it up right up under here. Nope. Short by, I don't know this guy. Just put a file. I got a file. I got it in the file. Yeah, man. Put a video. Upload. This is sad, man. This is clear bias towards Miami, man. This it right here. I'm gonna do a clip. Why Miami gets flagged more than anyone else. I gotta say that, man. Dang, that's a big old box. I hope it don't. It froze up my page. But that's it, man. There you go. I get to save it. I had to put everybody who inspired me to do this video. This video right here. Go to the blog. It's popped up in the app. If y'all need your website converted into apps with PWA technology, Web Manifest technology, give us a call. We can get any of these apps out for you with 3 code files, basically. This it right here, man. Let's listen to this.
Bottom nationally in penalties. But that's only half the story. The bigger story is the disparity. How often their opponents don't get flagged. If you're a Miami fan watching these past few years, you've probably been thinking this. But the numbers Manny Navarro posted today back it up. Miami's been flagged more than 30 times above their opponents this season. That's the biggest penalty gap in the entire country. 30 plus more calls against them. Not coincidence, that's clearly a pattern. Now, nobody's saying Miami plays perfect football. Every team holds, every team hits late. But at this rate, compared to other teams with similar aggression and physicality, it doesn't add up.
Penalties have been an issue, and early in this game, Dave and Dusty, they're rearing their head yet again.
13 against Florida State in the last game, 3 already here tonight, and none on Louisville.
You'll hear me talk about narratives a lot. They shape what we think, how we think, and what we believe. And depending on which ones we choose to nourish, to repeat, to defend, to build our identities around, they start to feel like truth. The same goes for teams. Miami's been living under a narrative for decades. The bad boys,
Hold on, bro. This is when I became a Miami fan during, let me see if I can rewind this, man. Is it back here? Where is that? I don't know where it's at.
Psychologists call this implicit bias. It's the brain's tendency to fill in the blanks using past patterns. So if a ref expects Miami to be reckless, then any borderline play, a shove, a grab, a late hit, feels like confirmation. It reinforces the old narrative. And the opposite happens too. A team with a clean image, a blue blood
Manny Navarro's
gets the benefit of the doubt. Same shove, no flag. Same hold, ignored. Because their default assumption is innocence. Miami's is guilt.
Excellent block. One thing he does off the football,
crazy.
See him come down here, gonna get the initial block, pancake him, and then whenever he gets up, kind of stands over the top of him, and it draws the flag from the official.
Look at this
It's not
guy.
that the refs are targeting Miami. It's
No
like
call. I said that too.
Someone's known
that
for
was
being
us.
You
We
notice
got a
every
call.
time they stroll in at 8:05. But when someone else does it, you shrug it off. Same action, different lens. Like hearing a song so often that you start humming it without realizing it. You don't even have to believe it consciously for it to guide how you see them. 60 plus penalties, 500 plus yards, a 30 call margin. You don't get that big a gap by chance. You get it when human judgment meets reputation. So yeah, Miami commits penalties, but not at this rate.
Nope.
Not compared to the rest of college football. Flags aren't for just what Miami does, they're for what people think Miami is.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
4 penalties on Miami.
Ooh, I don't know, Dave.
No fair catch signal to me.
I know
They
it.
called it. Penalty on Miami. Back in a moment.